A very good afternoon to you, esteemed viewer. We are delighted that you are watching Church of Uganda Family TV this particular Saturday afternoon. We are excited, especially when we know that you come through to watch Flourishing Hub. Flourishing Hub is a program brought to you by Young and Flourishing Foundation. Now, Young and Flourishing Foundation gave birth to the Young and Flourishing Network, and this network is built on 4 pillars, which are so important in our lives. One is money. Of course, we all want money. Who doesn't want money? But what do you do with your money? So Young and Flourishing Network helps you to take you through a series of how to work and earn this money, but most importantly, saving and investing this money. The other pillar is daring in life, of course, and then there is mentorship, because we all need to listen to stories of people who have walked the journey that we want to walk. And of course, the last pillar is strategy. As young people, as we thrive through this economy, truth is, if you do not have a plan, you will always be in other people's plans, which is so unfortunate. That is why you really need to have a strategy. And today, we are looking at the art of perseverance. And with us is someone who, of course, in this city, when you talk about Gilbert Atwiine, you might take some hours tracing for him until when you'll talk about Twine Shots. This is a man who started his business while he was still at campus in his second year, and see what has come out of his idea, what inspired him to start as early as that, because we all think that starting, you need first of all to study, complete school, then go work for someone for some time, and then you can gather enough capital and start. He's going to take us through his journey up to how he has built this brand that is the talk of town. It's a pleasure having you, Sebo.
Thank you so much.
We are indeed delighted. I don't know whether I should call you Twine Shots or Atwiine.
I prefer to be addressed by Gilbert.
Okay, Gilbert.
So that I don't bring a conflict of interest between Atwiine, Twine Shots. So I prefer to be addressed by my other name, Gilbert.
Gilbert.
Yes,
which is quite universal.
Exactly.
Well, how are you? We start from there.
I'm well. How are you?
How is Twine Shots?
Twine Shots, we are thriving.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
That's interesting. Just to, I know I just gave a little brief about you and in line with Twine Shots, but someone would really want to understand who Gilbert is in depth.
Now, Gilbert Atwiine is an accountant by profession and a photographer by passion.
Okay.
I happen to be the founder of Twine Shots that roots back to 2017 when I started the company. So I happen to be the founder. And in Twine Shots, I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer, I'm a drone pilot. Basically, I'm all around. Okay. Yes, please.
Now, talking about an accountant and a photographer, the two don't seem to relate. They're actually parallel.
Yeah, sure.
But how does now this passion come through?
Now, I happen to go to a different background of accounting, all through BCom, that is Bachelor of Commerce, all through I was into Masters in Business Administration, where I majored in accounting, all through SCCA, which is a professional course for accountants. But then, along the way, I found passion in something different, which is photography. So when someone hears photography, accounting, don't rhyme, but running photography as a business, accounting is one of the major key roles to manage and handle that business. So, having realized that my passion is in photography, I still had to proceed on and complete my career in accounting so that I'm able to practice my accountancy career in my photography business.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, sure.
So take us through the journey from 2017 when Twine Shots began.
Now, back in 2017, I can take it back to my second year. You know how you go to campus and then the period for internship comes on board. So 2017, in my BCom class, There we went to do an internship. And I was placed into the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, where I did my internship training for a period of 3 months. Now, it is during that period when you get to connect with your friends and get to know where your friends are placed and what they are doing. So I had a colleague of mine who was called Bash Mutumba. Most people must have heard about that brand. Bash Mutumba is also a photographer currently. Bash Mutumba was placed in at Galaxy FM for his internship. And he was, I think at some point, he got attached to a department that had a camera. And so he used to take those good pictures and post on his socials. And back, I also happened to be someone who loved walking to studios to take pictures, like to get into a studio and my pictures get taken. I do print a coveted picture size, have them in my wallet. If I meet new people, new friends, we exchange those wallet sized pictures. So when we got back from internship, Bash Mutumba thought he was going to return back to campus with a camera because he was doing photography all through all through the internship period. Now, I happened to be in the same discussion group with Bash, and when he came back, that's when I realized that he didn't have a camera. So I had to strategize. And when I got my leaving out allowance for that particular semester, that was into third year. You know, third year starts in 2017, but in August. So when I was getting into third year, after the internship training, I was able to get a Canon 60D. And that is where the story of Twine Shots starts. So it was after I got this camera that I realized that with a camera, you can't take pictures of yourself. But rather you'll need someone to take pictures of you. So my love for pictures, now it started to grow into passion. I'm having a camera that I always want to move with around campus, taking pictures of myself, but now I'm unable to take pictures of myself. So I interest Bash Mutumba in the camera that I had. He also picked so much interest. I start taking pictures. Now I walk around campus. I call my friends after lectures. Come we go around. I take your pictures.
Just like that.
Just like that. I used to take their pictures day in and day out, until people started to demand for their pictures. And all I could do, I had a laptop, was to transfer pictures on the laptop and give them. But of course, pictures are never final until they've been edited. So I didn't have an idea about what editing looked like. So I had to go back to Bash and ask him how best can I have these pictures given to my colleagues, and they do appreciate the output. So he said, it's okay. During class, I can always carry my laptop and I take you through small tutorials. So it was during the computerized accounting class that he got me hands-on and he designed me my first logo. So big ups to you, Bash Mutumba. He's the person that designed the first Twine Shots logo in our computerized class. And my thoughts were about getting something like G Shots or Gilbert Shots. So something rotating about that. And then I was like, no, I think we can go botanical. Use your surname. I don't know if it's the surname or the first name, but he said, get something from Atwiine. It can be a little bit unique because, no one would ever come out and say Twine photography or Twine something. So that's when we thought about Twine Shots. And that is how the journey starts. Now from then, he didn't teach me so much over the editing, but one thing I can say is that I observed that he was running the pictures into a program that was called Lightroom. So when I saw Lightroom and I saw Photoshop, like, okay, I think from this I can build up. But we at campus, we have free internet. So that is where it started. So whenever I go to the library, I would carry my laptop and my Ethernet cable. He sent it to those ports, those internet ports, get onto YouTube, get to see what I can do with a picture once it's been taken. So back then he had something he used to call I shoot raw. Raw is a format of a picture whereby after taking it, it comes off the camera without colors. So you have to go through the process of color grading and giving it back life. So after all that process, I did some personal research on how I can edit. Besides that, I'm taking pictures of my classmates still around campus. Then a colleague of mine called Awin, whom we happened to be in the same class, Awin Atwiine, he had a birthday. I was like, but wait, Gilbert, I see you with a camera. Why don't you come with your camera and do for us some pictures on my birthday? I'm like, okay, it's okay. Give me 20,000. I go buy batteries. But of course, you know, cameras have rechargeable batteries, but I was looking for ways of getting some car transport to come from hostel and go to Wandegea. That birthday was in Wandegea, something called University Inn. So he gave me the car 20,000. I carried my camera, did the pictures of the entire session. Now at that point, Bash had given me the logo. I had done some research on how to do the post-production. So when we got into a University Inn, I was able to take pictures. Basically, the entire place was full of university students and my friends, to be specific, people that we shared the same course with. So thereafter, after the birthday, I go to campus. Of course, the only office I had was either my room that didn't have a table, so meaning I have no, I could do any post-production in my room. I would just go back to the library, open Photoshop, run these pictures through, and send them back to the group that Awin had set up for the birthday. Now, that is when I made my first money, and that was 20,000. So after that birthday, other guys started coming up. Hey, we have a birthday, please come and take pictures of us. So 20,000, fast forward, 20,000 turned into 50,000, 50,000 turned into 70,000. Remember, now at campus, your parents are sending you upkeep. You literally have no needs. So this money, it would all end up, maybe I should say, into my savings box. So I did several birthdays back then in 2017, that last half of 2017. And within the process, that's when I got to know that the more pictures you take, the more dynamics you are encountered with. That's when you get to see the hardships in how to take good pictures. And the more pictures you deliver, the more feedback you get. So during that time at campus, come take your picture, deliver. Of course, campus students they always say, wow, interesting, we love the output, regardless of how good or how bad it is. Now, after that, through my journey, taking my classmates, giving me 50,000, giving birth to a 70,000, and going forward, I get my first recommendation of a client who had it was a baby shower. It was a baby shower. So this baby shower was in Nuzera, in some place, I think it's called Mogies. So now, remember, I have my camera. So the first frightening bit was the money that they paid, like 150,000. Like, okay, now this is double the amount that I used to get from students. They give me the money. So I was like, okay, since they've given me the money, let me not just move with the camera alone. I had networked with several photographers off YouTube, if I can withhold the names. I was able to get a speed light, a stand, and a softbox from one of the photographers. I had given him like a 50K. So I still had 100K to net off. So I got a border, and I proceeded to Zero for that baby shower. Now, this was my first, I should say, professional job that I got. I got into the place. The place had mirrors everywhere. And you know how you've come with your lights, you're going to take pictures of this baby shower. Whichever picture I would take, light would reflect through the mirrors and it comes back into the picture. I took the first picture, I was like, wow, how will I defend this? So it was the first job that had given me good money, but the output was already being ruined on set. So I take the pictures. I acted so professional, I was taking good pictures. Back in my head, I'm struggling with this camera, trying to set it up. But fast forward is, it completely failed. But I was able to do the baby shower from start to finish. So I took the pictures. I kept quiet on the bad output I was getting. I struggled with the camera. I set up the camera. I think I almost cried on set. Wow. But because they had given me the money, I was like, okay, this is it. So those ladies were dressed in white. The place had mirrors all around. So you can imagine they're dressed in white, and my lights are also white. So the pictures were white, in short. So getting to realize who the person was in the picture, it was one of the hardest situations. So I take the pictures, come back to campus. I edited. I gave them my whole. I edited the pictures to ensure that at least I could return back the beauty. When I sent back these pictures, I think I almost took my camera to sell it and get back money and live in freedom again. Ladies do not hide reactions. They fired all sorts of comments on how bad the output was. Okay, now when I look back at that output, it was slightly good, I should say. Some people now do produce output that is way worse than that. But of course, they're entitled to their money. They almost finished me. That's when I realized that this may not be for me. But I had a pushing force, my classmates, who always requested for pictures, regardless of how good or how bad the output was. So they kept me moving. They kept me moving. And through the process, that is when I got to realize how I could stabilize on the pictures. Besides, I was still doing photography just for passion. The money bit was coming in as a bonus. Into my third year, still I'm just taking pictures. But then I had come to know different photographers whom I had interested about the camera that I had. It was a Canon 630. And I think back then it was one of the best professional video cameras around Kampala. So I had told them, you can always call me to come on board. I always come with my camera. We are now into 2018. So they used to call me, come with your camera, until time for exams came and I told them I'm unable to show up. They're like, no, it's okay. Just give us the camera. They're like, no, you might need to give me some money. So they started giving me 150,000, even in my absence. They give me 150, I give them the camera, and I sit back.
No pressures of editing.
No pressures of. I now started earning quick money. Now a time came, and you know how you go with one photographer, and he's working with about other 8 people, and they're all photographers, just providing him a service. So my target was I used to exchange numbers or my contact with whatever person that we were working with. So along the way, they got to know that the camera was mine. So the December of 2018, now this is close to 1 year and a few months into photography. Now the other photographers that we used to work with, they now also started to come and they want to use my camera. And they're also providing 150. I'm like, no, if you can double the price, I can. No. Actually, I said, if you can increase on the price, I can give you the camera until the other person on the camera is already what? He's already booked. I was shocked when the other person gave me 300,000. Still, I'm not appearing anywhere, but he's taking my camera. So through that process, I was able to have people that I could inquire from on how best to take a good picture in case something went wrong. And it actually walked me through the different jobs that managed to get me where I am right now. I got a good breeding of events. Because they are all events people, they used to take the camera to use it for videos at events. So fast forward, 150 turned into 300K, 300K. I should say it stopped at 300K. Then the money was too much on my desk. I was like, what if I bought the second camera? What if I went and bought the second camera? That was a Nikon D7-200. But when I bought that camera, I realized that now I had Canon. I've now switched into Nikon, and they cannot, like, the equipment cannot match. Lenses of Canon can't get onto the lenses of Nikon. So getting this Nikon body, I realized that I needed lenses. So I had to sell off the Canon completely. So after selling off the Canon, that's when I realized that at this point, I was useless. That's when I realized that I was useless. No one was interested in me with my Nikon D7-200. Of course, I had made a wrong decision, but I had nothing to do. The camera had been bought off. It had, yes, and it had been bought off by the same people. So that's when I realized that to them, it was not about me, but it was rather about the camera. Like, okay, I now have to fight my way in. So personally, I didn't like the way the industry was running. You get to inquire from someone. It was all about, everyone was all money-minded. It comes back to me, I'm a student, I had no money. Like, okay, I had to move the hard way. I stuck to university resources. We had internet, YouTube. So when we got done, that was 2018, now into 2019. Now, when we got done with university in 2019, of course, my parents wanted me to go back home, but I lied to them that I was still doing some other course that was SCCA, which I was doing, though it was not a full-time thing, but it was a good excuse for me to keep around. So I pushed on with SCCA as I did photography. Did they know about
this other business you're doing in photography?
They had no idea about the photography business. Okay. They got to learn in 2020 when lockdown came in. And it did not amuse them at all. So 2019 May, we get done with campus. I'm now onto the streets, but I have my camera, so meaning I could earn something from that camera. The little money that I could use to earn from those people, it no longer comes in because I had sold off the camera. The camera that I had was now of no use to them. But from the money that I had saved, I was able to get a Tamron VC70-200 and a strobe. Now, when I bought those two equipment, they added now more value to me. Those guys started calling me bad. Like, you can come with your lens and your strobe. Like, okay. Like, okay, let me now use this chance to tap into their networks. So, because I had a good lens and a good lighting, like a good light, they also started recommending me. Like, whenever they have a birthday, because now I was full-time available. They tell me, okay, Twine, I now have a birthday, please go shoot it for me. I've built this, the client will pay you this, take your card, give me the balance. Of course, it was working for me. We did that into December of 2019. Now, when it came to 2020, all through that time, I was basically running, Twine Shots as a word until 2020. I went to the university. That's when we're meant to graduate in January. So during the graduation week, they normally sell stalls in campus. In case you have a camera, you can come and buy off a stall and take pictures. So I went and paid for a stall around the Guild Canteen area. And given that I was a student, we knew what was within my career. So I had a good edge of having to convince more people and bring them to my stall. So during that graduation of 2020, we took pictures. We took pictures and took pictures. My career graduation runs for about 5 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I should say I made good money. That I had never imagined as a student. So that is when I rethought. I was like, but wait, we go to school to learn and get jobs that will give us good money. After making that small money in that January, I was like, this is good for me. I'm going nowhere. And through the graduation, the different people that we've taken pictures of, they started giving us, they started recommending us. And into February, I started getting bookings for weddings. Because I had a good background of events with the people that I used to work with, the different photographers, they had exposed me. So whenever someone would come and talk to me about a wedding, I had a good background. I'd seen wedding, I was able to convince and win the job. So I won several jobs, about 3, which were meant to happen in May 2020. And the bookings had come in February. But along the way, I was doing SCCA as I was doing my photography business. So still around that time, that's when I got a job of an audit trainee. Of course, graduation is done. Your parents are now calling you back home. Now I get chance and a job comes in. as an audit trainee for some company X that I went and worked for, I think, a space of 2 weeks. 2 weeks into employment. That's when I realized that the supervision at the job may make Twine Shots fall. Twine Shots was just a word, not even a brand, not even a word. It was just a word I used to throw on the pictures. I should say it was a watermark for the pictures that I used to take. Now, with these audit jobs, you get to work at 8, leave at 6, and whenever you walk out of office at 6, everyone is looking at you in that bad way. People want you to be in office up to around 11. I used to leave at 6. I get home, I have a lot of work on my desk. By the time I finish the work, it's coming to midnight. Literally, for the 2 weeks, I didn't have a life until I was like, but wait, the money these people are paying me is money that I can make on a single Saturday. Why don't I reconsider my decision? Anyway, sorry, I'm not saying this for auditors and people into the field to get off their line of duty, but given that I had something that was running, I was like, I think this may not be for me, because it was killing the other side now. Twine Shots was dying as a brand because I was defending my full-time job, the 8 to 5. So at this point, I was unable to resign, but rather I diminished in thick air.
So one morning they're waiting for you.
One morning they wait for me, nowhere. They make phone calls, nothing. I was like, you know what? I had a 0702 number that I had to break that line. I just diminished into thin air.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Well, there is a lot to learn out of this experience, but let's take a short commercial break. We are going to return, and you take us through how you, after resigning or after diminishing, what happens next. We are coming back. Welcome back from the break. We are looking at the art of perseverance. This is Flourishing Hub, and we are with Gilbert Atwiine, the founder of Twine Shots, taking us through his experience with Twine Shots. Now, the question is, when those bad days come through, do you run away or you step back and rethink? What do you do when you hit by those bad days, by those hardships in your vision or in your business that you are starting? Before the break, Gilbert, you were telling us how you diminished from work because of the pressure,
the work pressure.
The work pressure.
Now, I just diminished in thin air.
Just like that.
I had an Airtel SIM card, a 072 number. I broke it. Like, let me just start a new life.
Okay.
So off I went. Now, no sooner had I diminished in thin air than lockdown precautions started to come up. I think that is also something that gave me a good cover. So they started locking up the country, and before I got to know, my parents were calling me. Lockdown is up, you need to come back to the village. Of course, I had no cover, but rather to go back. They had no idea that I was doing photography. Twine Shots had started to gain roots. So what I did, I had to go rent a house in Lugala. I placed all my camera equipment. I had money that would pay that rent for about 6 months. I paid rent ahead of time, put my equipment locked. I boarded the bus and went back to Ibanda, just with a laptop. So I went back, and through that lockdown, I was able to connect with other more global photographers through those editing contests that we used to have. Edit, send a picture, you benchmark. Until May 2020, when one of the people that had booked me in February said, Twine Shots, I think we are moving on with a scientific wedding.
Wow.
So that is why that game changer came in. So I'm home. My parents have no idea that I'm doing business. They knew I was in Kampala just because of school and whatnot. So Victor calls me and he says, our wedding is proceeding and it's going to be a scientific wedding. So at this point, I had no idea of how I could address this to my parents that I'm going to Kampala,
Had
to take
transport
pictures.
been opened then?
No, transport was, everything is closed, nothing is moving on. So I told Victor that I will need transport of 500,000 for me to be able to come to Kampala. I said, yes, it is okay. We are doing a small wedding. They had booked a big package, but of course they couldn't make changes. They're like, the money we had paid you, let's just move with that sum, and you come and do the wedding. So Victor sends in the 500,000 for transport. Now I had a colleague who was called Godfrey. May he so rest in peace. He died during COVID. He had a car and he had a sticker, those medical stickers. So I asked Godfrey if I'm to go to Kampala, what much would it require? Like, give me 500K. He just asked what these people had provided. He said, give me 500K, I'll take you and bring you back. Wow. Like, okay, the money is here. I had withdrawn the money. So this was on a Thursday. I told him, tomorrow, Friday, come in the morning and we go. So during the process, I also didn't have enough confidence to introduce this to my parents. I was like, I also just diminish in thin air.
From home.
From home. So I told my mom that, Mommy, I'm a cameraman in Kampala. She's like, a cameraman? Like, yes, I'm a cameraman. I take pictures at people's weddings. Like, a cameraman? Only she was upset. I mean, how do you go to university and then you end up becoming a cameraman? Of course, when you talk to parents that I'm a photographer, they may not understand what photographer means. So I had to bring it in the proper way that I am a cameraman in Kampala. Someone booked me for a wedding, and their wedding is on the 13th. It was on the 13th of May, 2020. It's on the 13th of May, and I have to go cover the wedding. It's like, okay, cameraman, you're going nowhere.
Cameraman wasn't sinking.
Yes, it wasn't sinking anywhere. But when I showed her the message of the client sending me transport, like, okay, hey, they even send you this much. Like, no, it's okay. Like, so how do you want me to help you? I was like, I don't know how I would address this to my dad, but the best way you can help me is by keeping quiet and me, I disappear. Because if my dad had had this, of course, he wouldn't have let me leave. Like, okay, deal. You're going to tell him in the morning when he leaves, find ways of going. The aftermath, it is you to answer. So I told Godfrey, I'd use to target my dad would be in the farm between 8 and 9. Then he comes back at around 10 for breakfast. So when I saw him leaving to the farm, I called Godfrey, please come and pick me. So Godfrey drove the car, came and picked me. So we went. When I reached Kampala, I called my mom. I was like, I've reached. She said, it's okay, you have arrived, but what you've left back here, they are soon chasing all of us out of the house. I left a very big burden, but he learned that I had gone to Kampala, though he also didn't know what I had gone to do because no one was willing to answer. So I came, we handled the wedding with a few of my friends. I called a videographer on set whom I gave 50,000. It was a small fee, but because everyone was home seated, paying someone 50,000 during lockdown was a lot of money. So they came on board, we did the wedding, and after the wedding, I went back to England on a Sunday. So on Sunday, I arrived at around 4 p.m. I reached in a very bad situation when they were all seated in the compound. You know, COVID, people are having nothing to do. I found them doing nothing, seated in the compound. And it's the eyes that welcomed me. Like, mister, where are you coming from? Okay. So when my dad saw me, he said, I want you to go under quarantine for 14 days. So my dad sent me into another lockdown for 14 days. So he asked me to isolate and not get close to them because they don't know where I'm coming from. And by then, COVID was at its peak. So I went back to town and got a house where I settled in for, I think, 3 days. So within the 3 days, they would send me lunch, they would send me the meals. It was on the third day that I reconsidered that, but wait, I have a house in Kampala. I paid for rent. Why don't I just disappear and go back to Kampala? So here what I did, I sent my mom a message and told her, I've gone back to Kampala. Let me go and grow the brand. Grow the brand? Of course, I was going to face a lot of challenges, them allowing me to go. So what I did, I just disappeared from home. I came back to Kampala into my house. I sat on the pictures of Victor Wade's Madrin. I edited them so well. Then I shared with the clients, and they were happy at this point. They were so excited and so happy. So back then, there was a group for St. Augustine. It was called COVID Brides. So when I sent them these pictures, they posted them into the group of COVID Brides. Imagine someone throwing into a pool of clients. Every person loved the pictures. Back then, my prices were completely low. So every person who had booked a photographer, they all now came to me.
Wow.
They came to me. So after Victor's wedding, I came when I didn't have a single wedding. But because I had posted their pictures, people had dates that they had set, but they were still undecided of whether to proceed with the wedding or not. But whenever they would get service providers on board, they would choose to proceed with the events. So when when Madrin posted these pictures, that was the game changer for me. Every person in that group asked for my contact. Several people contacted me. And between May and July, when the lockdown was lifted, I think I did about 14 weddings. And the game changer was I was just doing soft copies because no business was working. I was only doing soft copies and telling them we shall do the printing later. So from those weddings I was doing, they are bringing other weddings. And it helped me to bring other photographers together. Because they were all home seated, I'll go on Instagram, get these photographers that I used to work with back then in 2017. I called them on board and they were willing to work for me literally at very small prices, 50,000, 100K, because most of them were home seated. So we did weddings and weddings. We would do a wedding, deliver, do a wedding, deliver, do a wedding, deliver. Until in July, when they lifted the lockdown. Then whenever people would come to do bookings, I tell them, I stay in Lugala, you might come, you need to come and we meet. Some would come and most of them would never come. And I was like, but why don't I register Twine Shots through URSB and reserve the name? So went to URSB, I was unable to reserve the Twine Shots name. Fast forward, they gave me Twine Photography. I got a small office in Wandegea. Basically, people started to come for weddings. We did weddings all through 2020. I was able to acquire more equipment. So lockdown was completely lifted. So that November, December season, were a little bit busy. I had acquired a good number of equipment. And that is what gave birth to my other segment in Twine Shots of equipment rentals. So we do equipment rentals in Canon and Nikon brands, and it started in 2020 when the photographers that we were working with from May to June and July, all into November, started to come to us to want to hire the equipment. So we did several weddings. We moved through Wandegea. We got an office. Our brand name was registered just as a business name. We grew bigger and bigger. We started to get more wedding clients on board. All into 2022, when we got a lawyer and were able to now go back and look for ways of getting Twine Shots. We registered Twine Shots, made SMC as a company. The name was reserved. And here we are in Makerere Chikoni.
Wow. In this experience, and when you look back through how 2017 up to where you are, the achievements you have, the level you are at now, because you're not where you started from, walking around with your camera. Now you have a permanent address and all that. What are some of the key factors you believe have really built, one, your success, but also your perseverance?
Okay. The key factors would come from the challenges that we used to face. So the different photographers we used to book for events, a photographer would call you that morning and tell you, blood, I won't be able to make it. Imagine someone calls you on the morning of the wedding and that wedding has only one client. So through those challenges, the key factors that came into consideration, I started up a segment under Twine Shots of training photographers. Training on a skills-based, not on a certificate-based basis. I train you to give you a skill. So I called on my classmates that I had gone to school with, Godfrey, Nicholas Kanana, Ibra, that I did train. I trained them on how best we could do best pictures, and they mastered the skills. So training my friends, it was one of the things. Then the other key factor was financial discipline. Someone booking you with 1 million, and you're able to know that this 1 million is not my money, but it is money that is meant to facilitate this wedding. Because now at that point, now in 2021, 2022, people that we had done for weddings in 2020 are now coming back, paying us money to print for them the albums. Because back then we were doing soft copies, since most of the shops and businesses were closed. So we had so many clients who are now giving us money to have their albums printed. And of course, money is coming in, but this is money that is meant to be spent. Since ours is a service, you get the money, get off your small card, go to NASA, print the boards for these clients. So financial discipline was one of the most important key aspects. Someone giving you maybe say 300,000, and you're able to learn that on the 300,000, you're going to spend 280,000 to do the entire printing or to facilitate their job, and your takeaway is 20,000. Then 2, getting to formalize the system and getting to communicate well with clients. This being an industry that is taken to be so informal, I got to realize that with the people I was working with, the way they used to communicate with the clients was not appealing. Someone would come once and they would never become a repeat client. So this is one of the key aspects that I did a lot of research on, and I was able to master on how well I'm able to communicate with a client if someone came on board as a prospective client, so that I'm able to convince you and get you from a point of giving me 300,000 for a simple job, and I get you to a point of giving maybe say 500,000 on a single job.
Okay. Now, lastly, as we wind up this, what message do you have for young people out there who are so passionate about doing business? They have passion in certain things, but they still have these fears. How will I get the capital? How will I start? How will things be? How will I address the challenges ahead of me? Yeah, things like that.
Now, in regards to that, one thing I can tell the people out there is you need to be patient. You realize in my story, there is nothing like capital.
Exactly.
Because no one gave me capital. I started in 2017. My ground stood firm in 2020. This is 3 years later. Moving around, people were giving me 20,000, 70,000. The challenge that people normally face now, people are so ambitious. When they see where Twine Shots is now, they want to come and be at the level of Twine Shots. So one advice I can give is that we need to be persistent. We need to be patient, and then we need to be persistent and discover ourselves. Discover yourself in something that you love, and learn to do that thing better. That is when you'll be able to grow a good brand, other than seeing what some other person is doing and then wanting to flip into that particular item, and before you get to know, it's taking you nowhere. So being patient and move through the stages. If the capital is going to come, it will come at the right time. The turnover can come at any point. Then being consistent. If you started photography, keep it photography. Don't start photography before you get to know you're into printing, before you get to know you're into some other service, you're into decoration, you're into ushering. Being consistent with what you're doing. Then 3, you have to have that financial discipline to wrap it all. Because for any business is meant to make money. And it is this revenue that either will keep you in or that will keep you out. Getting to know that when I get this much, it is not for me, but it is rather for the business. And then being able to make a distinction between the money for business and your own money. So that maybe if you do a job, you know that you also pay yourself on that single job, and you're limited to that sum that you pay yourself, and leaving the balance for the business.
What's your last message to the young person watching you, watching us right now? Probably we know we have a song of unemployment where everyone is singing unemployment. People are going to school, they graduate, there are those funny messages that come after graduation. Tubalabule over tubaleke.
True.
Aiming at unemployment and all that, because our education system is actually training people to look for jobs after studying. But someone is right there watching us, and they're thinking of what next in their life. What message do you have for them?
Now, the message I have for that person who is looking out for what next is, when I was in employment, I wanted to do self-employment. When I got into self-employment, I want to go back into paid employment. So the message is, be comfortable where you are right now. That is, if you're in employment, be comfortable in that employment and see if you can create a path into paid employment. Because at the end of it all, it is all wrapped up into one thing. If someone is paying you a salary and you are paying a salary, of course, the person who is paying a salary will always be the winner. By the time you pay a salary, you're getting a higher pay, taking off your cut and reserving the balance for someone. So let's look out for activities that create opportunities for other people. Let's be job creators, not job seekers. Job creators is by looking at the small things that people may come to ignore. Look at the different business opportunities that you can venture into and start. Never fear to start. You can always start at 0 before you get to know you'll be at 100. So the biggest message is never fear to start. Attack it, start, be patient, and just monitor the progress.
Thank you so much, Gilbert, and thank you so much to you, our viewer. Wow, it was such an inspiring experience that I believe has not left your life the same. At least you can pick something out of his experience, and probably it can ignite your starting so that you are the next talk of town. Edwin Austin Mukalazi is my name on behalf of Luke Majumba Alinaitwe, who was unable to come through, but he will be with us here next time. Of course, we've worked with a very wonderful crew from Twine Shots, and yeah, it's really an amazing team. And from the entire team, we wish you the rest of your afternoon. A very good one.